Goodness, for one
Ridiculous, right?
Welcome to WatchMojoUK, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 terrifying Stacey Dooley documentaries.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
For this list, we'll be looking at the most shocking documentary that Stacey Dooley has produced that left us hiding under our duvets. Do you have a favourite Dooley moment? Let us know what it is down below. Number 10, the truth about Magaluf.
Without question, tonight has shown me why people are drawn to Magaluf.
For years, the resort area of Magaluf in Spain has been a haven for British tourists. If you wanted sun, food, plenty of drinks, and bad decisions on your holiday, this would be the place for you. In 2013, Stacey Dooley investigated Magaluf, but in particular, those who work on the island of Mallorca to keep Magaluf ticking over.
But does more business for the bars mean trouble for everyone else?
Dooley witnesses bars handing out masses of free alcohol and the consequences. There's the hotel worker who saw someone fall from their balcony after one too many drinks, the emergency services that Dooley shadows who try to sort out the inebriated tourists, and the cleaners removing the gross messes from the night before. Honestly, it puts you off ever going to Magaluf.
I was having a drink in a bar and somebody threw an ashtray at somebody.
Number 9, girls behind bars.
Hartman's here for drink driving with her young children in the car.
In 2012, the series Stacey Dooley in the USA was released, and the first episode was mainly a look at young women locked up at the only US prison boot camp for women. Imagine the worst aspects of prison and a military boot camp mixed together, and you have an idea of what these women go through. Created to sort out bad behaviour, you already feel sad seeing a tearful woman having her head shaved during the intro, and it only gets worse.
I met my husband. He was a drug dealer for my dad. He was selling drugs for my dad.
One of the correctional officers during a group meeting shames one of the women by forcing her to tell everyone and the TV crew about her horrible, violent experiences. It's really uncomfortable viewing. Number 8, Brazil.
Quando eu pedi trabalho a amigo meu de auxiliar de serviços gerais limpando o chão, ele riu da minha cara. Ele falou assim: Bárbara, você não tem esse perfil de limpar chão. Eu falei: mas eu preciso trabalhar.
In 2016, Dooley decided to look at humans' more carnal side with the series Sex in Strange Places. In the second episode, she heads to Brazil. Beyond the carnival and football, there's a darker side to love in the South American country. Facing a barrage of prejudice, many transgender people in Brazil resort to selling their bodies just to make ends meet, as other employment opportunities don't exist.
Infelizmente, a gente sofre preconceito e a gente é guerreira. Transsexualidade tem uma magia que ninguém tem, uma essência, uma vontade.
Dooley meets Barbara, who has to put her life on the line nightly just to be able to financially support herself and her grandma. Dooley also speaks to cis women that also sell their bodies and the dangers they face. Many of them have to work with armed militias. It's a harrowing tale.
A gente sai com o único objetivo: sair para trazer dinheiro para casa. Agora se vai voltar, só Deus sabe.
Number 7, face to face with ISIS.
Why are you coming back? Why are you doing this?
After producing Stacey on the Front Line in 2016, where Dooley travelled to Iraq, she decided to return to the country in 2018 for the Stacey Dooley Investigates series. Here, she meets Shireen, a Yazidi woman who was held captive by ISIS and now resides at a displacement camp. Shireen recounts the horrors she experienced before getting away. She then shows the TV crew the house that she was held captive and the market where she was sold as a slave. This segment caused controversy as it was labelled exploitative. Plus, there was the fact that Shireen's sister was still in ISIS territory, potentially putting her safety at risk too. Dooley defended the episode by saying that Shireen was given in-depth support throughout. Number 6, world's worst place to be a woman.
This paper, right, it's got 6 pages. 4 dead here, 2 killed here.
With an episode named this, you already know you're in for a rough time. In 2015, Dooley visited Honduras, which the series billed as the most dangerous place for a woman outside of a war zone. Every 13 hours, a woman is slain in the country. It's so common that it has its own name, femicide. Dooley meets Teresa Munoz, whose daughters, Sofia and Maria Jose Alvarado, who was Miss Honduras, were fatally shot.
What drove Plutarco to kill the most beautiful woman in Honduras and her sister?
All the senseless destruction of women eventually causes Dooley to break down on camera. Near the end, she sets up an interview with the General Attorney's Office of why they're not helping women. The representative decided not to speak at the meeting they agreed to, which really didn't help their public image.
What's your name?
Stacey.
Stacey.
See?
Beautiful name.
Thank you.
Number 5, locked up with lifers.
How old are you now?
I'm 41. I came when I was 22.
If you're locked away in prison for life, you need something to pass the time. After all, the devil makes work for idle hands, as the expression goes. In 2020, Dooley went off to the States to visit the Iowa Correctional Facility for women.
How many children do you have in total?
I have 5 children, 11 grandchildren, and 4 great-grandchildren.
And you were what age when you came to prison?
33.
It's a gripping documentary in which Stacey speaks with those who were put in jail for life for various reasons, including, of course, murder. However, it also does a great job at humanizing these people and raises questions on the validities of their sentences.
I understand the severity of the situation. I have life. She has a life.
Number 4, mums selling their kids. Another one that gives you a warning on how grim the content is from the episode's title.
There's nothing even sexual about that, so sometimes it is just pure torture.
In 2017, Dooley went to the Philippines to work with an undercover agent for Homeland Security investigations, who's gathering evidence on criminals. These women have been offering the services of their children in horrific ways in exchange for cash. Once the agent has the evidence, he can make the arrest and save these children from the terrible circumstances.
The darkness of the torture is something I've never actually heard before.
In the end, Dooley interviews 2 sisters that were arrested. They took no responsibility for their dreadful actions. The whole episode will make you feel uncomfortable as you witness a world you wished didn't exist. However, there are people like this agent that are trying to help.
This is obviously very damaging to a child. It's difficult when you go rescue them because they're scared, they're crying.
Number 3, the whale hunters.
Those who just really believe it's barbaric and it's wrong.
So the people come here and tell us what we shall do. We have done it for thousands of years, so we know what we shall do.
Every so often, whale hunting hits the news when the graphic images of the brutal traditional hunt in the Faroe Islands spreads. Looking to understand the practice, Dooley spent time with the activists who are looking to end the hunting and those participating in slaying the sea creatures to make a living.
Here. How much pressure is required? It's quite a big mammal.
It's easy to do.
It's easy.
Yeah.
At one point, she spends time on a Norwegian commercial whaling ship. They fire a harpoon with a grenade attached into a whale. The explosive is said to make their suffering end instantly 82% of the time, leaving that remaining 18% unacceptable to activists. We also witnessed the process of getting the meat from the whale, which isn't the easiest thing to see.
Do you enjoy your work? Do you love your job?
Yes, we are our own masters.
Number 2, stalkers.
I'm always looking over my shoulder. I've got cameras up at my house now. Still check out my window every night.
In 2022, Dooley gave us all nightmares with the series Stacey Dooley Stalkers. Over 2 episodes, we hear the stories of victims and the stalkers themselves. One story involved a woman who received threats and knew intimate details of her and her daughter's lives. It turned out the stalker was her ex-partner, whom she once lived with.
The police, when he was arrested, they seized his phones, and in his Google searches it was like, how do you get a black eye without pain?
He had Googled, how do you give yourself a black eye?
We also see the long-term effects this trauma can have on a life. Dooley even spoke to victims whose stalkers were strangers to them, making it seem like anyone could commit this appalling act. She also met convicted stalkers, some that regretted their actions, and others who immediately began their dangerously obsessed habits again upon release.
How do you see your future?
I see it bright, to be honest, really big.
So there's hope?
Yeah, there's hope.
Number 1, fashion's dirty secrets.
I was fairly familiar what went down from a human perspective, the human cost, but the environmental cost, yeah, I wasn't informed at all.
The fast fashion industry doesn't have the best reputation. After all, its dodgy, environment-destroying practices spring up from time to time in the news. In 2018, Dooley wanted to peek behind the curtain at the destruction the industry is doing. We witness toxic chemicals being released by manufacturers into rivers that people wash, play, and drink from. We also see the Aral Sea. Instead of being a thriving ocean, it's mostly a dusty wasteland because of the amount of water cotton demands.
It's 13 years for one person. Which is,
Goodness, for one
ridiculous, right?
To drive that point further, Dooley confronted shocked UK shoppers with the huge amount of water cotton requires, disturbingly sometimes absorbing the same as decades worth of a person's drinking water requirements.
Does it make you think that you might shop differently, or you might give this a bit more?
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojoUK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.